maybe talk about, the signing of Nick Cousins and Sam Ersson as well?
Yeah, excited to have Nick back. Obviously, he brings a ton of energy and competitiveness to our team. A great teammate. Really glad to have Nick back. As far as Ersson, it was, as I've told you, probably introduced it at the end of the season where we needed to take a different approach on goaltending and evaluating it and taking a look at what it's all about and how can we get better. And the way we had set it up with the process, the goalie guys identified Samuel Ersson as not only a very good backup goaltender right now, but great potential moving forward and all the skill sets to be able to do that. So like a number of things that we've done here previously, we tried to get ahead of it. We knew there was other interest in it, in Samuel, and worked out a 2-year deal with him.
Why didn't you qualify him and then eventually sign?
Well, the qualifying offer brings an ARB case, which potentially could have been a lot higher. So,
Do you believe that it could have been higher than?
yes, yeah. With his experience, we felt like that was it, and we feel on a 2-year deal that and hopeful that we're going to get great value in year 2.
In the last 2 years for Ersson, 2 years ago he was the worst goalie in terms of goals saved above expected. Last year was 5th worst. Why do you think that will turn around for him in Ottawa?
Well, I mean, I like the way our team plays ahead of our goaltenders. I think Greener's done a terrific job of dialing that in. Again, relying on the goaltending process that we've put in place to identify that. And they feel confident that it will turn in the right direction. And, at the end of the day, his win-loss record's pretty good too, so he does find a way. But they can talk to you about all the technical stuff that they see with this goaltender that gives them belief.
Is that something that you talk about, kind of leaning on the goaltending coaches like Peters and Schwach? Is that something that you've kind of deliberately changed in terms of kind of deliberating more to them versus, in a sense, your own decision making on goaltending?
Yes, without a doubt. And I admitted that to you guys. I think I feel comfortable building out rosters, forwards and defensemen. And certainly I lean on my staff on those decisions as well. Yet with the goaltending, I don't have that area of real knowledge and expertise. So, we're confident in the process and how we came about it. It was a little unique to get out in front of it, but I think, we'll continue to talk during this presser, but we've made it a habit of us trying to get out ahead of things and not only finding value, but taking more of a swing on upside. And with the core group that we have here, we have the ability to go and look at upside. It might look a little unique from the outside looking in, but the process is there.
You mentioned the end of this past season, the backup goaltending was probably your biggest misstep of the past year. What gives you the confidence in Ersson to be that guy for you moving forward when statistically he's been one of the worst goalies in the league last 2 years?
Well, I told you that we're going to engage in a different process and have real goalie people involved in the process. And what they came to me with is that they're excited about Samuel Ersson and the upside that he has. You'd have to ask them on the technical side of things, and that's why they're there. But certainly they have great belief that he's going to be a good number 2 and continue to push, and we love his potential.
And Mache is relatively new to the organization. Does he have a ton of pull or influence already?
He's part of the process for sure. I mean, Justin Peters was extremely excited about Sam Ersson as well and getting to coach him. And so, again, I let that process take place. Try to learn from, try and get better is what we're trying to do with our process, and having them involved in identifying Ersson is important.
Today, where do you kind of feel like your team is at right now?
Well, I like our depth up front. I think there's a great deal of variability to our lineup. We have, just about every one of our forwards can play in different positions and in different situations, and I think that's a benefit to Travis and the staff to be able to find the right combinations and move some players around. But we've continued to build on our depth, and We had some depth from within as well. I think you see on a day like today with lots of additions, teams are adding players. I felt that we had some really good players that maybe haven't worked up to the opportunity. You know, the Fogels and the Zetterlands, those players who have great potential have both scored 20 goals in the league.
You feel like, sorry, you feel like the answers have to come from within? Is that maybe the message you sent to this group today?
Well, William Eklund, I think, is a huge addition. I don't think we've talked enough about it. I think what I'm excited to see is he's a different dynamic than what we had previously, and he's a great playmaker. And I'm excited to see how he does playing with our top players. And I know our players are excited about playing with him. So that's a different dynamic. Add the likes of Burkowski, who's had success in the past and a bad off-season last year, and we took a swing on some upside.
How confident are you that with the group you have right now, you won't take that step back? I know when you spoke to us last, you told us you had no intention of taking a step back.
Yeah, and we continue to work at it. Today is just one day. It's been a week since I've made the trade on Brady, and you know, you have the draft, and so I think it's a little early to make an assessment on where we're at. We've put ourselves in a position now where we have great flexibility and draft capital.
So,
And sometimes when you get to oftentimes in the way I see the market right now is that there could be some opportunities to come.
sorry if this has been asked already, but where are things at with Claude Giroux, who obviously is testing the market?
Yeah, well, G, you know, I think we've stated how much we want him back. We've been unwavering in our in our message to him, offered him a contract as far back as before the trade deadline, and you know, he's come out, wanted to take a look around in free agency, but hasn't closed the door to come back to Ottawa. I mean, for us, there's also a reason why I'm not active today. Obviously, that spot is reserved for him, and I'm eagerly anticipating, waiting to have a conversation with him.
How do you feel about your leadership group as it stands now, where Brady Tkachuk obviously is in another market, Claude Giroux, we don't know where he'll sign at this moment right now, and even if you do have young players like a Sanderson and Stützle, just generally, how do you feel about it, knowing that there's a possibility your roster might not have Giroux and Tkachuk next season?
I feel pretty good about it. I mean, when you talk about the likes of Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson, and you can go on, you know, is it young leadership? For sure. Have they learned from some of the players that have been here in the past? I think we've done a good job of surrounding them with some outward leadership and some understated leadership. So those two players in particular, but there's a whole host of players who I think possess great leadership qualities, so I don't have any concerns.
Any thoughts on who could the next captain be at this point?
Not at this point. I think we will certainly have many options for the next captain of the Ottawa Senators. Like I said, I think they're a young core group that's coming into their own, and I think they've learned a lot, especially over the last 2 years.
If Giroux doesn't come back, how quickly would you try to kind of fill that void?
I guess depends on the opportunity that's presented. I wouldn't want to force anything. Would I like to be in a position now with knowing that G's back and continuing to work on the roster? That would be great. But at this point, showing him the respect that he's earned as a free agent to be able to look around. I mean, I wish it were different. You know, I think we're watching opportunities that may or may not have come about if we did have an answer. But certainly we'd like to have G back.
Burakovsky, obviously, last year spent a lot of his time in Chicago with Connor Bedard, playing on the same line. In his time on that line, and particularly in that first half of the year where he produced more, what are some qualities in his game that, when you scouted him as a potential to add to your group, that you figured would translate over into Ottawa?
Well, he's shown that he can play with top players. He's been on 2 Stanley Cup championship teams. And we have a strong core group. And we were taking a swing on some upside. And it's an opportunity that we wanted to get out ahead of. It didn't take us out of anything that we were looking to do moving forward. It was a relatively low acquisition cost. And we like to try and get ahead of it with some talent like that. And I think in working with the coaching staff and digging in on the player, they felt not only comfortable but excited about what our environment might be able to create for him. He's got a great skill set. He's a transporter of the puck and he can shoot the puck. And I trust our coaching staff. Our coaches have been able to continue to develop players, and when you have some upside, it's exciting to see where it can go.
When the market opened today, did you kind of feel like, you talked the other day about shiny new toys, that there was more risk over reward? I don't know if I'm putting that correctly, but.
Yeah, I mean, anytime on a day like, if there's something specific that we're looking at, then we would go after it. I think with where our roster is at this point in time, as you see, I think there's a lot of term and a lot of dollars that go out on, in particular on day one. And we feel comfortable, again, when I talk about some of the players on our roster that maybe haven't gotten the opportunity to move up and really play up to their potential. We have that internally already with a couple of our players. So we've looked at every avenue to try and get better. I think day one of free agency sometimes gets a little bit inflated. And so, and again, I mean, it's really, this is dependent on Claude, and we want to see what direction he's going first.
What are your general thoughts on the way the market looks? The fact that a lot of players who are available, they're not necessarily seen as like 1A or superstar players, maybe guys who can fit in a secondary role. And as a result of that, a lot of other teams have been looking through trades to improve their roster.
Well, that's where it's at now. I think the trade market has heated up because of that. They're, the top players aren't getting to free agency. You're trying to lock them up earlier on. And so there's a lighter market in free agency, and I think teams are looking to do it via trade.
How much do you think maybe like one big bad contract on July 1st can kind of hamper a team, and like how mindful are you of kind of being kind of calm and steady on a day like today?
Well, extremely mindful, and I think if you look at what we've been able to do over our first couple of years here together, we've been very mindful of that. Now, like we have good players that we're going to pay here, and I think to be able to keep ourselves flexible moving forward, it's exciting on day one of July 1 to be able to try and add a player, but we also have the bigger picture in mind.
Can you, given the fact Ersin got a 2-year deal, where does that leave Levy within your organization?
Well, I think you need 3 good goaltenders, and Levy's a part of this moving forward, and we'll be working to have him signed.
Anything else?
Obviously, with the injuries on the back end last year that you experienced down the stretch, are you putting any emphasis on adding some guys who could play in Belleville, who could come up and play some minutes for you guys potentially?
We are. We're going through that process right now. As far as our back end with the, we're excited about Yak. Obviously, he took another step forward last year. We had to dig in our depth like maybe no other team has last year. So these days and weeks leading into signing our depth are important.
And just in regards to William Eckler, sorry I wasn't at your previous availability, but just what is it about his game that makes you believe that there's room for growth and he could pop with this situation here in Ottawa?
Well, he's a little bit unique to what we don't have. Like, we have a lot of good hockey players, but he's creative, he's quick, he's a playmaker, and we have some top guys that I think will benefit greatly from the way that he plays.